Ja. Naya ding.
This is my friend from Barbados. I did not even know he was there. He just arrived in the land. This is crazy. Nice to see you.
You give thanks for life, health, and strength again. Welcome one and all to this grand moment that we're about to begin as we embark upon a journey of life, health, and strength. And before we even go into such session, as we deliver to you the Right Honorable Priest Kailash Kelyans, upon this Black History moment, we invite, ancient spirit of our divine ancestors, present in our midst at this moment of time, So, as usual, standing in the order of Melchizedek, we also have to give thanks unto the people and to give thanks unto the Creator. So, I ask the congregation to stand just for a little moment. Holy Emmanuel,
Selassie, Jah, Rastafari.
Lord be unto our Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Jah was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, Jah world without end. Selassie, Jah,
Rastafari.
Let Africa be your guiding star, your star of destiny, as we climb for the stars of equality and justice within this time. This is the greatest prophet of all, ancient prophet, Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Selassie, Jah, Rastafari.
Give thanks. We have a seat. Welcome, as we say, raise the black man's bill of rights, raise the black man's government, raise the black man's big of fear, raise his army, raise his navy, raise his country. I couldn't find them, so I'll make them. Prophet Marcus Messiah Garvey. Well, this time we have a legend with us at this present moment of time, passing to the schools, 2001 universities, as he moved towards his doctorate, his medical degree. We give thanks for the CEO of the Food of Seven, the CEO of Liberty Foods, where we live the life we love and we love the life we live. A restaurant that brings you vegan, ital, and alkaline to uplift the spirit of man and woman. Going through to be the great physician as he is, the CEO of the Great Physician International, championing going from kingdoms to kingdoms, the ends of the earth, teaching, ministering life, health, and strength to people, giving them life, giving them strength, and giving them confidence in themselves. A man with us today, a man of bigger fears, a word of praise with us, your brother, my brother. England, London, we introduce to you from the shores of St. Lucia to here in the city of London, the Right Honorable Priest Kailash Kelyans, the Great Physician International. Bless the Lord.
Give thanks for life. Well, give thanks for the welcome. Tonight we're going to first and foremost give thanks for life and a mighty life giver, and we give thanks for everyone who is here with us today, because there is no better day than today, no better time than now. Sometimes we sit down and we think about what could have been yesterday, or what is it that we expect to have tomorrow, and yet still we take no time, no effort, we pay no tribute to the now, right? So as we start, I just want everyone to say, give thanks for life.
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 Because life is the greatest gift. That's the greatest opportunity. Now, most times people don't really have the full comprehension of what simple words like give thanks for life can do for you. Or even growing up as children, our parents used to always tell us, greet people when you pass them on the streets. Now, being in a metropolitan environment, meaning like being like in the city of London, there are some consistent actions that we as a people, we perpetuate, because I do the same thing. Because you would pass 100,000 people on your journey for the day. Walking, you would do pass 100,000 people. Walking, speaking, passing by, and not even once you might tell someone, blessed love, a good day, or hi, even hi. Right? So when you live in that type of reality, because remember that your brain is very tangible, it's very malleable. It is an organ that actually is not created definite. It changes every single day. New grooves are created in your brain based upon your everyday activities. Pathways, channels. So if you're someone who always sad, always complaining, then you create a shortcut to sadness. It is very easy for you to be sad because every day you're sad, so you create this shortcut to sadness. Bam, you're sad. So the same way, if you're someone who always gives thanks, blessed love, even good day or good morning, as we were brought up saying, you are creating particular neurological pathways in your brain that builds up shortcuts towards wellness, shortcuts towards happiness. So when you tell someone good day or good morning or blessed love or greetings even, you're not doing anyone a favor. You are doing yourself a favor. When you tell someone give thanks, if they give you something, you say, oh, give thanks. You're not doing them a favor. You are doing yourself a favor because you are demonstrating gratitude. And gratitude is basically the first step towards healing. Because most people are only concerned about getting well. And in their concern, it's just about getting well. They even they develop what you call expectations in their heads. They expect plenty. Because people come to us in our center in St. Lucia, literally with their breasts rotting off, like literally, like cancer, 4th stage, and you come in and then they have an expectation. They have an expectation that, oh, they're going to come and they're going to get well. That's why they come for, they're going to come and they're going to get well. And they live off the expectation of getting well and not even being able to show gratitude and being thankful for the moment, the present moment, the fact that they are here now in that particular condition that they are in. Even if they have a tumor or tumors or cancer for the whole physical structure, right? Giving thanks. They live off the expectation. That's why people now, they do plenty things. Not because of necessity, but because they just follow and they don't understand and they just do. So people are sick, so they say they're desperate, they have diabetes, high blood pressure, and a woman who is infertile, she says, priest, I'll do anything. I want to have a baby. I say, you will do anything? You will do anything just because you want to have a baby? So why do you want to have the baby then? So even the desire to have the baby has become like a trophy. Right? So you tell them, no, your purpose for being well, Your purpose for coming to us is not to have a baby. You don't come to me just because you want to have a baby. Why can't you have a baby? Because you are not well. If you are a woman, you are well. You have no problems. You are, as they would say, healthy. Could you be having problems having babies? No. You would more be thinking about contraception. So your purpose, your first purpose for coming is supposed to be about getting yourself well. You don't have to have a baby. You have to what? Get well. And as a product of getting well, you'll have a baby. Because you're good. Right? But your intentions, you already start off the wrong foot. Right? Someone sent a rope for you and you turn your back already and you're still trying to swim by yourself because you are not understanding or understanding that your focus has to be on first and foremost about self-love. Not because you want to just have a baby. The reason that the majority of our people, when I say our people, I mean that the whole of humanity, because we have a crisis. And right now, everyone is actually looking for an answer. Because people normally get desperate and they begin to look onto other people and they literally cling onto other people just because of desperation and just because of the crisis. And because of that crisis of wellness, healthcare, people really are sick. I mean, the majority of people are just not well. I can tell you. Right? And my job is the kind of job whereby people only come to see me when they are not well. Right? It's not a very good job per se. It's a good job, but it's not a good job for me. Right? I say to my clients when they come, why are you here? Why are you here today? Oh, but Prince, you know, if I was well, you wouldn't be seeing me here. Right? Or if everything was good, you wouldn't be seeing me here. I am only here because what? Something is bad. So people, and honestly, they said honestly, that they only come to see you when they are sick. So there alone you already have a problem because you come out of desperation. So if it is that someone is a con man, or there is someone who wants to take advantage of you, right? Just because of your desperation, they take advantage of you. So you see a lot of people with cancer, especially, they are taken advantage of. You understand that? Some serious advantage. Heartbreaking advantage. Like literally heart-wrenching advantage. Because the people are so desperate because did someone tell them that they're going to die in 6 months or they're going to die in 3 months, and they will do anything whatsoever you tell them to do, just because of the fear of death. Why would they do anything? Because they believe they're going to die. I personally have embraced what people call death. I embrace that, you know. If I was afraid of death, I wouldn't be doing my work. The line of work I am doing, if I was really afraid, I mean, I have live TV programs in St. Lucia. I do things all around the place. When I'm out here, I'm in St. Martin, and I go in, once we went to St. Martin, and when I began my lecture, a whole team of how you call these people there? Immigration, chief medical, chief this, chief that, chief this, and they just stop my lecture just because I'm talking of cancer. Right? So if it is that we are really afraid, but in about 2 to 3 years' time, the same people, the same head of this, head of that, they still came to me, you know, and sit down in the same country for consultation. Because it's not their fault. If you live your life being bitter and blaming people for what they do, right, and don't have a full understanding of your true and divine purpose, then you get yourself sick. I wasn't upset with them. When they came to me, years after, I still deal with them with love. Because it's just through ignorance. Right? So I don't operate with fear. I don't leave and say, well, man, I won't speak about that. I won't speak about this. Why would I speak about this? Why if you speak about this and you speak about that, you're going to get in trouble. Then that means I would never be a true healer. I'll just be someone who just walks the line. And in St. Lucia, I remember they said, Chris, you need to register into your licensing thing. So I'm saying, well, look, they really have some good intentions. So I went ahead and I registered right into the whole, because you have alternative medical practitioners and you have medical practitioners. So I registered as a herbal physician. And about a month or so after I registered, they called me up into a meeting with the chief medical officer, chief dental officer, chairman of alternative medicine, someone from the Ministry of Health, and the lawyer is sitting right there. And I'm saying, well, probably they heard that I reversed diabetes or I helped somebody with infertility and they want to congratulate me. So I'm going into this meeting and I'm sitting down. And they say, Chris, it is unethical for you to speak wrongly about vaccination on your television program. So they called me to scold me. Because right now, I am a licensed practitioner and it's unethical to speak bad about my colleagues. Right? So, the intention of our system, that was about 2012, 13, and I think that's the last time I registered into that. Right? So when someone is living or making a decision out of the fear of dying, you are starting off, you see what the word dying does? Throws down things. Yeah. Carries an energy. And you see what it throws down? Vibrational energy throws down. Right? So even the world has power. So when someone makes that decision based upon the fear that they don't want to die, wrong decision. Because you are anxious, you are afraid, you're nervous. There is no way that that's going to be the best decision for you. Because that's a decision made out of fear. You have to embrace death. That's the first step. You must have no fear. What's death? Why are you so afraid to die that you'd allow someone to literally take a chemical for our cancer people? They are so afraid of dying. The fear is so intense that they're going to allow someone to take an injection and inject into their bloodstream chemicals, right? Chemicals that if it were to fall on the floor in this space right here, just to mop it up, the nurse would have to get triple gloves, goggles, right? Overalls, okay? Just to mop what you call a cytotoxic spill, a chemotherapy spill. You can go on the internet and search it out. If you just type out cytotoxic spill or chemotherapy drug spill, you'll see videos on procedures on how nurses have to clean up after the chemical that they inject into someone's veins spill up on the floor. So then, if it's so dangerous, why is it that you put it in my brother's veins or my sister's veins? And they're so afraid of dying that they would allow someone to do that to them. Can you imagine that? Now, when you embrace death, meaning that you're not afraid, well, give thanks for the moment. Because you're giving thanks for the now. So you begin to live in the now. Because you're not dead yet, you know. Because remember that you never knew that you had cancer 10 years ago, but you had cancer 10 years ago. Or 5 years ago. You were never afraid. You were living, you were eating, you were strong, you were muscular. You were driving up and down and you were good. But the moment that you get that news, you begin to lose weight. And after 6 months, you're dead. Why? Because you became afraid. You began to make decisions that was not for your benefit. You allow someone to just cut off this and cut off that and then burn you up with radiation and all type of stuff. You accept it because of fear. So many of the decisions that people make are not out of that love of self. Because if you love yourself, if your decisions are made because you love yourself, first and foremost, you would examine that. You say, well, why do I have to go through this? Is that to my benefit? I have told people that come, I say, well, what the first thing to do if you know you have first stage cancer is just to say, well, look, man, probably I have 3 months to go. I'm going to live every day as if it was my last. And I'm going to live every day to see tomorrow. So every decision you make is going to be a decision to help you to see tomorrow. So you are here now. So what are you going to have for lunch? Well, what can I eat today to ensure that I see tomorrow? If you're going to drink something, what can I drink today to ensure that I see tomorrow? So then your frame of mind becomes a frame of mind for your survival. So the decisions that you make are decisions based upon you staying alive. And right away you begin to stimulate particular pathways in your brain, right, that makes you just a solution-oriented person. So any symptoms that you have, you figure out some way to take care of it, and you become happy. I see people come on to our center and blind. Our camera sister was there from France, Sister Audrey, give thanks. And there's this woman that she was in St. Lucia, and she was filming a documentary, and there was this woman that was there, and she came to the center and she was blind, she couldn't see. And I sat down about 3 or 4 days into her stay. I sat down to the top of the spring, and I was sitting down about 100 meters away from her. And I was looking at her gaze. And I saw that her gaze had changed. You know when someone is not seen, right? They have that kind of gaze whereby they're watching you, but they're not really watching you. But I saw that she was looking at me. So I waved her. And she waved. After 7 days, right? I was sitting in the same place. Because remember, I would come down and sit down and hold a meditation and look at, and you understand? And she said, yeah, priest, I can see you, you know. So the sister was recording. I tell her, well, if after 7 days you were blind, and now you could see, go ahead, send out to the world, because your doctors in America, you went to all type of people, and they say, well, you're blind, it's a degenerative disease, they can't help you, you're just going to go blind, 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 blind. If now you could see now, give a little interview or a testimony. This will help another person who's blind. Probably they could have the strength to actually see. What did she say afterwards, Sister Audrey? She never wanted to show the view. No, first and foremost, she gave the whole testimony, and she never mentioned that she came blind. Why? Why?
Maybe fear.
Fear of what? Of not being able to see? You know why? Because she had applied for benefits. Right? And she did not want the video to go out into the world and then spoil her benefits. But there are people right here in this room that probably do the same thing. Living on benefits and claim that they have mental sickness and going for the pills every time and say, please, I don't take it, just go for it. You're You know that you really have a mental problem. You are really sick. You're worse than the person that takes the pills. Why would you pretend like you are sick mentally? And then look at this, you know. You pretend, look at your life. Right? Just come out of it and examine the person. They're not sick. They're pretending to be sick. And once or twice a week, they go to the GP and they go and they take their pill. It's just a movie. It's like as if this one. Come on. You are sick. Just to do something like that. So the sister refused to allow you to go out, not because she didn't appreciate love that, but because she was afraid of losing the benefits. So I tell her, but you should go back to the people and tell them that you can see. You have no needs for benefits. Right? Because you underestimate your own potential. You believe that someone giving you 80 pounds a week, something that you could make probably in a couple of hours if you really, or in a minute, or in a second if you really, or you know, in a millisecond you could make an 80 pounds just because what you sell a cup, you write a book, you do a painting, you did a little job, you whatever you want to do. So you're willing to live of 80 pounds a week and live a life of pretense instead of working towards focusing on your wellness. So even if you have depression and you feel a little bit better, you should go and tell them, I feel better, you know. I want to get off this. So right away you program your mind differently. You begin to try to live as normal as possible instead of perpetuating a lie. So we have many people, we must understand that, you know, that the system that we are designed in is not a system that is specifically designed to actually educate you on how to eradicate your diseases. We are living a life whereby people are so tangible and so gullible that they follow anything and then they follow it worse than a religion. They become what you call extremists. So even on our flyer, we said, well, alkaline, a myth, a reality, or a fad. I am the Right Honorable Priest Kailash, right? I am not the brother Dr. Sevi, but we have just added value to Dr. Sevi's work. Not so. Because you wouldn't really see in Dr. Sevi's lecture where he show you the libraries like that in a live lecture. So we come and we show you the burdock, so you don't have to always go to the shop. And people say, a priest, but the herb growing there by the train tracks, it might be, you know, dirty. So I tell them, the herb you get it in the shop, where does it grow? Right? It's growing by the train tracks, so it might be dirty, but the one that grown. And we must understand that herbs that are for detoxification are normally grown or growing in areas that's full of toxins or pollutants. So a herb like the king of the forest, which is a herb that I bought this one here from St. Lucia. Right? What they call a cassia lata. So if you don't have the burdock as a detoxifier and cleanser, and you are in St. Lucia, you can use the king of the forest, what is called a cassia alata. Now I bought this one from St. Lucia, and you see it's green. Now this herb in particular is a herb that grows by waterways where the river runs and sometimes it's a bit polluted, or in big drains or gutters where the water comes out of the city. So wherever I travel, if I'm in St. Martin or in Antigua and I'm passing by some kind of gutter and I'm looking for this herb for a lecture, I just drive and I'm looking and you must find it there. Why? Because this is one of the best liver cleansers that you find. Right now, this might not be on the alkaline list. It's not, right? It's not. But that's a herb that grows wild in the forest in St. Lucia. It's a herb that my ancestors, our foreparents, have used for years upon years upon years upon years upon years upon years. That's the herb that we use 3 times every single year. Some families 4 times, whereby you had to drink this for some families 4 times, whereby you had to drink this for 9 days, 21 leaves in a liter of hot water, allow it to cool overnight, and drink it 9 days, every single day, to detoxify and cool your physical structure. And after the 9 day, you take what you call a colon cleanse. So in Creole, they used to call it afweshi. Right? So you refresh your physical structure. That also is an excellent herb for skin conditions, liver spots, ringworm, and all these different things. It's something you could use and scrub your skin with. For eczema, excellent. Alright? So you can pass this one along. Remember, I'm going to use this again tomorrow night, so don't damage it. When you touch the herb, remember the herb, if you understand that they say water actually transports energy and has memories. The herb has water, and it has probably about 80% of it is water. Alright, so you deal with the herb, please deal with it love. Remember, I bought it from Monday, and you see it's still green? Because I took it with the intention to remain green. So when you hold it, please, love. Love. Cassia alata, king of the forest. King of the forest. So that herb is a herb that you could bake with it, you could blend it and make a green juice. If you're constipated, if I have a client that's constipated, I would blend it instead. Right? I blend probably more than 21 leaves. So I might triple it. If they're really constipated, blend and strain and drink. In the night only. So they get up in the morning, they have 7, 8, 9 bowel movements. No, it's all for the Caribbean. It's in Africa too. I see it in Ghana and this country. Right? So it's not only found in Central. And you find it the same places in Ghana, on the waterways. Alright? By the river. Alright. So, another herb that we're going to show you 2 herbs. The same herbs, the same name, but the temperate version and those that grow more in the tropical area. The one called the elderberry. That's mine. I think that's it. Okay, that's it. So this is the elderberry from Kailash Mountains. Oh, all that herb that comes from Kailash Mountain. That's from where our Rejuvenation Center is. So that herb there comes from the mountain. So right now you are touching a piece of the mountain. So if you're thinking about coming up to the mountain, right now you could touch a piece of the mountain and then you've been there. You touch a piece of it. I took that right in my yard. That's our indigenous elderberry. Now in the Caribbean, it's very difficult for them to grow berries. Why? The birds eat them even before they come out.
Yes.
Because the birds know good food. Right, so this, in St. Lucia, I'm just telling you what our ancestors used it for. This is the medicine that actually took care of the cough that no other medicine could take care of. They call it La Flebicio. That's a Creole name, right? Now that would take care of any cough that no other condition could take care of. This herb there would actually be taking care of that cough. The elderberry. And the white flower. I remember in St. Lucia, because me and this man we do have to work already still. We were using the flower for somebody's blindness. So I can't remember who we used it on. Right, but the flower is a flower that you could utilize when people are not well and they have eye issues. Right, very, very effective for eye problems. So that's something that we utilize. For the sister in St. Lucia, I never used that. I'll tell you what I use shortly. So you can tell me where you get your elderberry.
I got my elderberry from the same greenway to Eastham. And there's quite a few elderberry all over England. You just have to know how it looks and you see it. Believe me, it's all over, probably in your backyard.
What is it good for? You tell them what is it good for.
Well, elderberry, for me personally, I've experimented on myself with it. With the flowers, and I made a tea and washed my eyes for like 7 to 9 days. But believe me, it's a scary thing because after the 3rd day, you feel as though you're blind because all the mucus is coming down and your eyes are actually clamped down. So if you're not strong, you're gonna freak out and then not be doctor. But afterwards, if you complete the full 9 days, you have extra vision. It's amazing, believe me. But the way how it draws the mucus from your eyes is unbelievable. Because every morning you wake up, you're going to see a lot of cold in the corners of your eyes.
Oh, your eyes shut closed.
Your eyes shut closed. But it is definitely amazing. You must give it a try.
Sorry, this is actually washing the eyes.
And what you do, you can make a tea with it and put it in a cup. Put it like how you do an eye wash. If you go at off press, you put it off press and you put your eyes in a cup. The same thing. And just exercise your eye left, right, anti-clockwise, clockwise, up and down, left, right again, and it does wonders.
Clearer vision.
Clearer vision.
So far.
So if you look at the leaves of this one, you will see like they are very similar. The leaves and even the nodules, because these they actually grow by the branch. You could just break a piece and it grows. Right? It's that a lot of life energy. Right? So herbs with lots of life energy are very mineral rich herbs, very, 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 very potent herbs. Very potent. Now the other one that we have here, I mean everyone should know this one, everybody talks about it. You want that one there? What's the first one? Alright, so the vervine now is that herb normally has a purple flower. You got any vervine from here? Because it has the English vervine.
Yeah, but the English vervine, the difference is the flower is more velvety and the tail, this antenna is longer. And the leaf is slightly smaller.
So if you know vervine, and you come here, you'll get vervine. It grows here. You never know that. Never know vervine grows in here. There is vervine here, right? So this one came from Kailash Mountains also. The morning before I traveled, I just passed very close, probably about less than about 40 yards along the break it down. Because you have to live in your reality, you become a hypocrite. Because I was becoming a hypocrite. Yes, I was becoming a hypocrite. Yes, because I was living up in the north side of the country. I have probably 2 or 3 offices. I would sit down in the office, see patients from morning, afternoon, and then go back at my home, drive over at my home, go back to the office, fly over there, go over there, go over there, go over there. I was becoming like a hypocrite. Because I was not living, number one, as a Rastafari. I was not living the levity whereby I know when I'm supposed to be in the mountain. I'm supposed to be in a place with fresh water, fresh air. I'm supposed to be planting my food. That was my culture. Now, I was saying these things, but I was contradicting it. Just because I was not living to the fullest of what I know was really right. That's why we actually left. I think for that year I closed down all my offices, right, Chris? And then I moved to the mountain. And then I said, well, if anyone really wants to see me, then they'll have to come to the mountain to see me. Right? And that's when I began to manifest Monkelash Rejuvenation Center. But I did open up another office in the city. Why? Because the day, well, remember I'm a healer, you know, by nature, that's me. The day I was about to go to the airport, and just remember to get up to Mount Kailash, that hill is like not an easy hill, man. Hills that you have to drive up and then come to the top and then drive down a steep hill, right? So when I got to the top of the hill from the house, and I began to go down the steep hill, I saw an elderly lady. Probably about 70, coming up the hill with a younger man with a stick. And she has bad knees, you know. And if you really know the distance and the hill, and she was walking up the hill saying that she's coming to see me. Right? So then I say, well, wow, and I really would have to. It was my meditation. On my trip, I say, whoa, there are people really and truly, until I could actually have what you call a shuttle service, or well organize it, you know, people would come wherever you are. And to see this 70-year-old woman, because of her desire to actually see me, if you really know the hill I'm talking about, you'd really understand. Right? So it made me to have that full understanding that there is nothing that you put your mind on that you really cannot accomplish. A younger person with no knee problem might complain. But a 70-year-old person with knee problem was able to actually reach the top of the hill. And guess what? She wouldn't be able to see me because I was just going to the airport. So when it is that you are a healer, people literally clinch upon you with the expectations, which is not the way. Because there's a saying that goes, physician, heal thyself. Because you must heal yourself to become a healer. Because it's the journey. Because it's not, this is not like priest Kailash work and I'm the one that's supposed to be there speaking and talking about herbs all the time. No. I'm not the one that's supposed to be here with the full vine all the time. So you cannot learn it enough after you've used it to the people around you to be a teacher to them. You after you heal yourself. I tell people I died before I live. And they don't understand. That's a full vine. I died before I live because herbs saved me from when I was a baby. Right? My grandmother always told me, well, they never thought that I'd have made it past one. Because when I was a baby, like coming up, it's vomiting and diarrhea and vomiting and diarrhea and vomiting and diarrhea and vomiting and diarrhea. And people never thought I would survive. That's how I know I'm really a healer, because I look at my own story. And it was a root, a marijuana tree root, the root of marijuana, that my godfather actually boiled in some water, and that's a big story, man. So I grew up learning that the root of marijuana saved my life. Ganja root. So you know automatically I have a love and an affinity for marijuana. All right, so the vervine is a herb that I also grew up seeing. My uncle, his name was called Fuedesh. In his memories, he's an ancestor now. He used to have what people would call now animal cruelty. He used to have cockfights. And That's roosters. You know what a rooster is?
Yes.
You know what a rooster is, Honorable? Young one. You know a rooster? Yes. So the rooster have spurs, sharp spurs. And in the rooster fights or the cock fights, they would put metal spurs, long metal spurs, on the legs of the roosters. And most times in the fights, what would happen is the metal spurs would go into the eye of one of the roosters, or the head, or the eye. And I see my uncle use the bovine lift after a metal spur go into the eye of the rooster. And the rooster is blind because they would literally hold the rooster and move their hands in front of the eye. And you see that the rooster is blind. And they would take the leaf and warm up the leaf over some steam and squeeze the bovine juice in the eye of the rooster. And the rooster would get back its eyesight. Right, so when today, I never throw these things away. I grew up in that was my reality. So when someone now, even if I go to medical school and someone comes to me and tell me they have eye problems, even if I study everything I study, I would be really, really ignorant and silly not to use what I knew growing up, that vervine was good for eye problems. Right? Because that's the knowledge. So most times people believe that the only knowledge that is knowledge that you get from a university. But that was my knowledge. Growing up, seeing this miracle, that's a miracle, you know. So I normally, for eye drops or glaucoma, people with diabetic retinopathy, right, which is basically a damage of the arteries at the back of the eye, to the retina, where they have blood spots and all these things, bleeding at the back of the eye. I normally use the vervine, which I know is a very powerful herb. And the water out of what you call a chalice. The Rastaman use a chalice. Right now they call it a bong. Okay, and then the Rastafari use a steam pipe. Right now they call it a vape. I'm very serious, you know. A vape is just adding heat and then you pull it. But long time we vape now, man. We call it a steamer. Right, and that's the original thing that you use clay and the charcoal and the charcoal from the coconut on the top, and you pull it. I think I have a YouTube video on steamer probably. Right, and the water, when you use the steamer, or those of you that's familiar with the bomb, right? When you utilize the herb, when they burn the herb, the smoke of the herb literally goes through the water. And the water becomes cloudy and dirty, and you understand? So that water is like holy water. Because the chalice itself, when a Rastafari use the chalice, they bless it. Every time you're going to use a chalice, you bless it. You say a prayer and you bless it. So the water itself becomes holy. Because every time you're using the chalice, you're blessing the water. So that water also contains the cannabinoids. That's what they call the chemicals in marijuana now, ganja, right? So it contains the phytochemicals in the herb that are not oil soluble, meaning that they dissolve in the water. And incidentally, these cannabinoids are those that are very good for eye issues. So what we used to do is we take what we still do, we take the vervine, the water from the chalice, and plant plantain. Here you go, plantain, the plantain bush. I think you've got some plantain. Yes. I don't have any plantain from St. Lucia, but the leaf of the St. Lucian plantain does be a bit broader. Right, that one is a bit finer, but it's still plantain. I can see it's plantain. I know plantain. Right now, this here is by itself alone is a herb that's very effective for any eye problem, just by itself. Right, just crush the leaf in some water, strain the green juice through a cheesecloth and use it as an eye wash, or even as an eye drop. So would crush 3, 5, 7, or 9 or 14 if the person, and remember, you have to weigh the thing, you know. You see, that whole weighing and 2 grams and 6 grams and 4 grams and 5 grams and all these things, that's not really our science. Our science is in numbers. 1 leaf, 3 leaves, 5 leaves, 7 leaves, 9 leaves, 14 leaves. If things really bad, you know you have to do a 21. Right? So that's how the powers always work. When you go to any ancient healer, one second, any ancient healer you go to, and some of them will tell you, once I went to this old lady, this elder, and I always go to the elders. That's where I get my knowledge from. I'm from the youth too. I'm still learning, you know. I'm still learning. There are herbs I don't know. Right? I'm still learning. Right? And the elder showed me this herb, a herb called twef. It's a herb that they use for parasites. And she said, you get 3 leaves, right? And you use half of 2 of the leaves, and then you take half of a side and half of the other side of the other leaf. I'm very serious, you know. And then you make a tea with it. Now, you might believe that what she's saying does not make sense. But if you are a scientist, that's why you have to study. Because I have a scientific background, right? I won't just laugh at it and then say, yeah, boy, get some science, some magic thing there, you know, because other people would like the magic thing. Oh, the priest like going to some spiritual thing there, you know. The spirit probably have vitamin deficiency, brother. But you believe it's some spirit thing, somebody attacking you. And a lot of people like that, you know, they believe like it's someone doing them something. But it's just a little deficiency you have. You working every day on biscuit and cheese you eat. What you expect? You expect your brain to function. You understand that? So, the reason why you have to tear the leaf, my mind went straight forward to a National Geographic video I was watching about giraffes and how giraffes does feed. And they have to, when they feed, they have to go through miles of pasture. And they like a plant called the acacia plant, or the acacia. And if they bite this set of plants here, all the plants in the surrounding turn what? Bitter. Never know that, right? I'll go on National Geographic. Now for me, because I am watching it in that perspective, I'm learning that the herbs are alive. So when you tear a herb, the chemical constituents of the herb change. So the fact that when you bite this herb and you shake that other tree, and that other tree now picks up that scent from this other tree, the chemical constituents of the tree have changed so much that the giraffe cannot eat these plants. They have to leave them alone. And they have to roam, go further down, and graze again. You believe that? So you don't believe that?
I believe it now. Because I didn't know before.
But that's why they have a herb called sensitive bush or shame bush. And if the bush is named sensitive bush, what do you think it's good for? Just guess. Speak from your heart, man. Just guess. Nerves, man. The fruit is called sensitive bush. That's how the elders used to name the herbs. Right? Sensitive plant, oh, it's good for nerves. This is more sensitive. Right? So, this herb, if you just touch the leaves, all the leaves just close. And not only the leaf you touch, all the other leaves just close. So, how did the other leaves know that they have to close? That's because they are communicating. So a leaf that's open and a leaf that's closed has different phytochemicals inside of them. That's why when we understand that, then we begin to understand how you have to approach a herb when you're going to pick that herb to get the benefits from that herb, because you understand that, look, that how you deal with the herb affects the phytochemical content of the herb. So that's what you call the plantain, Plantagomaya, scientific name. And that herb there is mixed with the vervine, the water from the chalice, and you crush them together until the water is green, cheesecloth, and as an eye drop. So as the brother said, that's even without the elderberry. Because even if I add the elderberry, I have to add another herb. Because I can't leave it at 4. The principle always works like that. And then they might call it the Fibonacci sequence and name it after somebody, but the elders always know what they're dealing with. Right? So this now, when you have this drop in your eye, next day, I mean, your eye is just blocked because it literally draws out mucus. Right? Me and Prophet and you go a long way still. Remember when my mother was blind? And we came to Barbados. I took her to Barbados. But she was diabetic. Put Pastor Clancy around. She's diabetic and diabetic retinopathy. And then she couldn't see because there were lots of blood spots behind her eye. The back of her eye was very filled with blood. So I took her to Barbados, took the blood out at the back of her eyes. And because I know that she and Prophet Nkoyo, they were very close. Very close. So I actually not kidnapped, I murder napped her. And I brought her into a guest house for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in Barbados, and I lived with her. And she called the sisters complaining, oh, Priscilla's not giving me my medicine. Da, 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 da. She wants to eat some chicken. She's getting none. But she was close to Prophet Nkoyo. So I know that anything that he tells her to do, she will do. Remember what you used to wash her eye with? Yeah. What? The chalice water. So we used to just take the chalice water and wash the eye every day. When she went back to St. Lucia, and she went to the optometrist, I don't know how they call it. I'm not English, really. That's just a lip language. Optician. He couldn't believe that she could see. Right, so personally, I have seen the wonders of the herb, and I'm not trying to convince you. For sure, I'm not trying to convince you. Unless you take a time out to actually learn of the herbs and don't just follow a fad. Because what you might end up doing is that you are living off a list. And the list might be so short of millions of herbs. Yes, come on, man. We have millions of herbs. Millions of herbs. I mean wild herbs. You have trees that are in the rainforest. That's medicine. Trees, like big trees. Palm trees. And they are medicine. And just because you've not studied, somebody tell you that that's a list of the herbs, and that's all you're going to use. And you are so lazy that you don't even take a time out to find out, even just go online and just type Buddha and print a picture and study where does it grow. So at least you could familiarize yourself with it and then actually become someone who could take care of yourself. Because remember, you'll be in the wild and you have some vervine you get from the health shop. And you'll be saying, wow, but I have no bovine, And you'll be sitting down by a bovine plant and you won't even know. The supermarket has become the garden. And many people, just because they don't have that interest in themselves, I'm going to show 2 more herbs. I'm not going to go into many different herbs. I'm going to open up the floor and we're going to have a discussion. Choose one, my love. What do you feel that's important? And go ahead. He'll choose one, but I will choose the one that's very controversial. One that even our great brother, Dr. Sadie, say it's hybrid. I'm going to do a very controversial one. It's controversial because remember, there are people that are people that stop speaking to me, because I might tell them to, because of what they believe. You know that, right? People say, why Chris? Why that's not alkaline? But that's a comfrey, and comfrey grows wild hair. All right, now I'll give you my personal experience, right? My personal experience. Nothing beats your personal experience. Nothing beats that. Now, even if I go into that story, I have never seen a herb as a poultice, like say in the comfrey, as a poultice. Let's say you have a carbon abscess, right? And you take this comfrey leaf, an abscess, probably you have some dead tissue underneath your arm or someplace. And you take this, you warm it up over steam or over some heat until the color changes from that light green to a deep green, the leaf become like very malleable. And you apply some castor oil on it and you rest it on the bum. It literally draws out the abscess and bursts it. Right? The comfrey. But that's just one use, but my personal experience with it was that in Dominica, that's in 2011-12, I had opened up a business in Dominica, that's another country in the Caribbean, and I went there, we had a restaurant there, it was doing good. If some of you see, I have a lecture on YouTube, say Chris Kailash lecture to American students. That's in my restaurant in Dominica, that's about 2012, 2011. When I was there, my second son, Honorable Prophet Sahu, he's 14 now. He got so sick with vomiting and diarrhea. And I found out that it was because the house that we were living at that time in Dominica, the cistern had parasites, the water had parasites. So even if you use that water to wash your dishes, right, the water had so many parasites that afterwards I had some water. Now what I discovered was that I had some water standing in a glass and said, what happened to the man? And when I look at the water, because in Cuba, remember the water in Cuba had lots of parasites. I was accustomed of examining the water. So I look at the water and I literally could see the little parasites swimming in the water because he was vomiting, diarrhea, and to the extent that his stools were blood, nothing was coming out. I even felt like a piece of his intestine or something had been coming out. And seizures. And remember, I'm Chris Kailash, Now that's my test. What am I going to do? Run to the hospital? And when I reach the hospital, why Chris Kailash come to the hospital? Why? So what happened? The herbs can help you. Yeah, why? Right? So then what we had to do, because of the seizures, just called what you call a febrile seizure. You know what febrile means? High fever. So the temperature is high. It goes over 102, 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Right? Gets to the head, and your brain just stops functioning. Just to see if because the temperature is too high. So we just put an ice cold towel over his head. And early in the morning, I call a doctor version of mine, Dr. Pascal. He's a normal medical doctor. He's a ENT specialist in Dominica. So yes, Fishman is filled with seizure, man. And he's a vomiting. What do you want to do? You want me to call somebody for you? Now I called a version of mine who's a herbalist in Dominica. I went and I got, because I'm talking about that story, or that glory, I will mention that. I'll have to bring in this herb. I said, beloved, I love that herb. That's guava, right? Yeah. I love this. You don't really understand the powers of herbs. I see for myself. Right? So, my brethren that time told me, priest, just add the comfrey root to the guava leaf, man.
That's it.
Alright? So, me and the brethren now, we go from far, you know. But remember, I tell you that I know stuff. Some people might say I know a lot. But I think I know everything. I don't know everything. You know. People teach me. And I'm willing to learn. And when we combine, and we have to cut the root in 3 pieces, eh? When we combine the root of the comfrey and the tops of the guava, the tops, not the big leaf, the tops, because it's bourgeon guayave, right? When we combine that, immediately after the man drink 2 cups, and everything just stopped. Right? And then I just see, well, you know, eating back and take it, you understand? So when I go through this personal experience and I understand the power of that particular herb, yes, I respect what the brother is saying, right? But also, I am a scientist myself. I examine stuff. I study things. I analyze it. And I know that this herb helped to save the life of my son. It stopped diarrhea and vomiting. Just like that. So, who is going to tell me that I'm not going to be saying that? I'm not going to be saying comfrey is you could use comfrey root then. Or you have a bump underneath your arm and you can rub the leaf and put the leaf over it to bring out the abscess. Who's going to tell me that now? Right? So the knowledge that you receive, because remember, you know, someone will come with knowledge that you could add to your knowledge and make that knowledge a greater knowledge. Right? Now, another hybrid herb that people talk about a lot, that they call hybrid, is the periwinkle, man. The periwinkle. Right? And yeah, and Dr. Sebi just talk about it in his lecture also. He said somebody pointing about periwinkle and but you ever have a woman that's actually hemorrhaging for 3 months straight? Like every day, they have their menstrual cycle every single day. You know how horrible that is for a woman? Right? Now, you could go on birth control pill or take an injection of any hormone that you want, or you could drink a cup of periwinkle tea. 5 leaves and 5 flowers and 9 leaves. I see that stop hemorrhaging. You understand? So nobody never tell me that. I'm telling you, I see it myself. I see it myself. So when I research about the plant, and remember it grows in Madagascar, you know. You know that? Like grows like as if it's wild in Madagascar. So whoever made this plant there, a hybrid plant, that person they have to go far back into time to make it hybrid. And the Amazon goes wild. I mean wild, like wild. And when I researched it, I saw it has two chemicals, vincristin and vinblastin. And I checked that many people who have Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, this cancer of the lymph nodes, the chemotherapy is vincristin and vinblastin. That's what they give them, man. Just check, you see, the drug is vincristin. And the same thing in the periwinkle. You understand? So we have to add on to our knowledge. And if you are in a situation whereby your life is in danger, you're supposed to know what you can utilize to save your life. But if you're an extremist and you refuse to study and get knowledge, right, you might condemn things that ignorantly, that you never even study about. You don't know about it. Right? Whereby I can be corrected. You know, can you correct me?
Yes.
Of course you can correct me. Anyone can correct me. As long as I'm going off, you correct me, you can say, but please, man, that's not, man, I used to, you know, I take a correction. So don't you think that even when you read your Bible, it said that God regretted that he did. God regretted. You know? In the Bible it said God regret. That means that the God they speak of in the Bible himself, he himself would have been corrected because he regret. He did something he regret. So if you have to come and say, you know, God, you should do that inside, you know, man. God will listen to him. They believe that. Yeah, man. God is in flesh, right? So God, Goddess. Okay? So then, what we are looking at, because I'm talking about the guava leaf, and I went into the periwinkle just because I was talking about the comfrey. The comfrey root and the guava, not the leaf, you know, the root. And you know that the root of the comfrey looks like exactly like the burdock root, right? Mm-hmm. All right. And it looks like ginseng. And you know comfrey grows wild hair. Never that, right? Comfrey grows hair like a weed. A weed, you know. Comfrey grows hair like weed. Like weed. So somebody take a lot of time to plant all these comfreys all over the place. Look. So that's the comfrey. And that's the guava leaf. Alright, so what are you using? Oh, you want to take leaf alive? he took a Caribbean hill. That's the money killer show we have, right? So go ahead.
Well, this one is one of my favorites because I found coming up as a child, it was one plant that don't care what you do, it never dies. And from my experience, when I felt low in energy, I would resort to this. Blend it, say like 7 to 9 leaves. Just blend it and drink it. You have to acquire the taste, because it's not like honey or sugar or syrup. It has a very unique taste, but it does wonders, especially for colds. You could just pound. You could just usually, back home we used to just pound it and put some salt and drink it. If you have a bad cold, and it licks up the cold like nothing. But I consider it my favorite herb because it's a herb I resort to, like for anything like swelling, pain. I call it a cure for all, for me. It's called Leaf of Life, Wonder World. We call it Wonder World in Barbados, or Leaf of Life. I'm not really recalling the botanical name at the moment, but I'll find out for you. But it's a herb that it is the boss of herbs to me. And what we used to do as children, we would put it between a book and it would grow. It never dies. So you see, we need to think for ourselves and observe, and let's not really look around and see what doesn't die. And know and try to get life from it. As simple as that. So take heed. Take a look.
Remember, I used to use that for your sinuses, yeah? Yeah, that's what you do. Yes, it's a very good for asthma, any respiratory condition. Any respiratory condition, like excellent. Right? So, what we're going to do now, we have many other herbs there. We have plenty other herbs, but take it easy. You don't come to learn everything in one night. And some people want to, but Chris Gilash, why talk about prostate and never talk about diabetes? You can learn everything in one night. In 11 hours, remember, I'm still learning, I did 7 years medical school, right? 7. Okay, so, and plus, still study herbal medicine and acupuncture and all these things. So you might underestimate, because this brother Prophet and Koyo is a man that he doesn't only, his expertise now is not really, when I say expertise, his qualifications is not really in the field of herbal medicine. You don't have a diploma or something in herbal medicine, but he knows his herbs better than plenty people who have degrees, right? But he's accredited and have his documents in therapy. He's like a sports therapist and massage and acupuncture too, and all these things. Aromatherapy. He's a man that even before he went into therapies, when we were working together, when we were growing up together, because we got we St. Lucia back Barbados, but we met in Cuba and we just, the way he used his hands, I always tell him, man, you have to go and study, be a therapist, man. To the point whereby, I think you were the CPL, the Cricket and Caribbean Premier League and these cricket teams, and he deal with many of them big South African cricket players and them kind of people there, like work on their muscles and their injuries. So he's a man that deals with lots of injuries, right? Apart from just being a normal masseuse. He's a normal man, he does normal massages, but he's a man that specifically is really good with that, with his hands. Even before he studied, right? I told him he should get his qualifications because of what I saw he was doing. There was this elder man with diabetes called, remember him, Nat? Yeah, man, the man leg was that big. And for me, I carry a different kind of spirit. I'm not the therapist. I am a therapist. If I put my hands on you, I put my hands on you, yes. But I am the kind of healer that has look more and touch less. That's just me. No apology. Sometimes people come to me, and because I don't examine, I remember, I study medicine. And in studying medicine, I saw some things that just not called for. And I saw that even for the cadavers, that the medical students had no respect. They had no respect for the people. After they pass, their spirit move on, they give their body to science then. So you are unstable and you have a body. And the body, you have to cut through it. There's a sciatic nerve. It comes from there, it goes there. That's a radial nerve, whatever nerve that you're talking about, whatever vessel, whatever artery, whatever vein. In medical school, you literally have to cut up dead bodies to see the heart, to see the valves, right? To see the AV node or the SA node, whatever it is, you have to cut. And there are people who give their body for science. So, going through that system, naturally, you're supposed to have a certain level of appreciation and pay a lot of respect to that, right? Going to medical school, I used to see some of the students, man, put scalpels in the urns of and shake it and laugh. These things that used to make me feel kind of wasted. to the point that I stopped going to labs. I stopped going to labs like about halfway through my thing. I started going to anatomy lab. I said, I'm tired of seeing dead bodies. I'm very serious. I still pass, right? But I tell you, stop going to the labs, right? So the physical structure is something that you're supposed to deal with at a level of love and intention. And I don't really ask a woman to take off their clothes like that. If you come and say, okay, Chris, I have fibroids. I tell you, you have an ultrasound. Right? Or before you come and tell me, I know already. Right? And it's not because of I have a crystal ball or some secret powers. It's powers, but it's not secret. It's for study and for science. Come on. Somebody come in front of you and you look at them, you say, check the skin, their face, this, that, how they speak. So I say, hey, blessed, how you doing? And the first couple of words, I'm already on you, you know. Don't be if you come to speak to me. Right, but the first couple of words, out of the abundance of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Exactly.
I always tell someone, or people, because people get, and remember, you're trying to heal this person there. So this person there is coming with ego, because you don't know what happened to them, and you might know what happened to them, but their ego is quiet. You don't know what happened to them. So then you have to humble yourself. Remember, this person needs the help, you know. So you have to abase yourself, humble yourself to the extent that you're just taking all the ego and all that thing and just there watching them. And then well, look, you have to break off there and come down there and make them understand exactly what is happening. So they might say something, and you don't have to think about what they did not say. Try to read. They might have to read you, man. It's just what you said, right? So you say, how was your day? Oh, well, not bad. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Now you say, not bad. Had a blessed day in the breeze. I give thanks. Now somebody might smile and, but the smile is just a superficial smile. Right? Then you know that person there is a person that does hide their emotions and cover everything else with a laugh. And if you tell them they have cancer, they're laughing. It's supposed to get serious. Take it serious now, man. So they playing that, it's so positive. I think so positive that you're telling me that I'm reversing on a piece of metal that's very sharp. And you're reversing still. But let's stop. Take it serious and stop and look back. Because it's something serious. So being positive and positive thinking is not being silly. You have to acknowledge danger when you see danger. So if someone tells you that you have cancer, you don't laugh. Right? I say, why should I laugh? I say, no, man, that's a serious thing. You have to go serious. Because you're going to war, so you're going to underestimate your enemy. So, if you know the strength of your enemy, it will determine how you're going to plan your battle. So you have to get serious. So when someone comes and they say, not too bad, or whatever they do, whatever they say, whatever you say, mathematically came out of the depths of you. So you could have had, I say, but how you mean it not so good? Why are you trooping so? What happened? Why you so, why are you so negative? Why are you so sad? I'm not sad. I'm all right. I'm always happy. I'm the one that always lifts up the spirit of my office. But the first thing that came out of them was a sad thing. Was a depressed thing, a nod. And they try their best to convince you that they're good, you know. But the heart is like this. If you have 15 of one thing in a bag and 5 of one thing in a bag, if you push on in the bag and you pull out something, what are you going to pull out? One of the 15 things or one of the 5 things? You're lost. One of the 15 things. Why? Because you have more. So, what comes out of your mouth is what you have more inside of you. Period. Period. That's it. You don't have to read nobody. You don't have to try no crystal ball, nothing at all. Right? You could just read the person based upon their reality or what the person is telling you. So then you say, well, veteran, 80% of what comes out of me is supposed to be positive. Please, I should always bless, because I'm always blessed. I'm blessed, my Lord, give thanks. Blessed Lord, give thanks, give thanks. Blessed Lord, give thanks. Blessed Lord, give thanks. What am I abundant of? Thanks. Blessings. Right? That's what comes out of me all the time. This is what becomes my reality. But if every time somebody asks you how you doing, well, people like I stay from them, right? I personally just stay away. Don't be offended, right? Don't be offended. Please don't be offended, but you will still be offended.
No, you're not all
And you should be offended. Right? And it's okay if you're offended, it's okay. I'm just gonna speak the truth. Right? You want to hear the truth from me? The truth, the real truth? I personally don't enjoy or full joy being around the sick all the time. It's not something that's enjoyable. Because you have to keep your vibrations up like this. You understand? Because you have people that just come to parasite. They don't come to learn it. They come to suck. Right? And then at the end of the day, these people now, they will not stand up for you. Not. If anything happens, they'll not stand up for you. There are people that's dying, and you help them and you save them. You give them back life. You help them, you feed them, you take care of them. And then they will not stand up for you. If anything happens, they're gone. Or anything at all. There was this client who came to us. Kidney failure. Remember him? All right. He came to us on a Friday. The doctor told him he died by Sunday. And he came. And he was begging. Please, Kailash, please. And I said, Virgin, I don't really take on people like that, because you know what? Anything happens, me they're going to blame, because you know Priest Kailash. Priest Kailash have to bear everything, because, boy, I mean, you are against the system. If anything happens, if you come, sometimes somebody passed outside of my office and they never came inside, and something happened to them and they died, it's because they came to Priest Kailash, they died, you know. Remember, they passed on the main road, you know. They never came into the office. They just passed on the main road by the office. But we can get blamed just because we stand up for the herbs. It's a serious thing, you know. Whereby the medical people, everybody's against you just because you stand up for the herbs. But I don't really care about that. Right? Because I just stand up for the herbs, for the fowl, for the pigs, for the cows, for the goats, for the sheep. Right? And that help to keep these things alive. Prevent people from eating them. From the fish, it's not for the fish, man. So you think if I fall in the ocean, the fishes don't know that I'm the man that has check for them? If you think the fishes don't know what's going on? You really think so? Oh, the fishes in the ocean know what's going on. All the animals, they know what's going on. Because they can sense your spirit. You understand that? And you could know it because when they're killing the animals, when they tie all of them on the side, you ever Jimmy, man? Blessed. When they tie the animals on the side and the animals are ready to be slaughtered, you ever had animals cry? All right. So then you could understand that these animals have soul. They have spirit. And they will stand up for you before a human being stand up for you. Because the human beings, they don't stand up. The brother was dying. The doctor gave him a couple of days to die with kidney failure. And at that point in my existence, because I started this work there young, right? I graduated from medical school, I never went to work, or I was supposed to go and do my internship at the Greater Medical Center in, where I go to Florida or Miami, yeah. And then I say, you see what? 17 injections, whatever, did this. I flew back to St. Lucia, to Antigua, to my family, and I opened up my first office. Remember that? Yes. The whole aspect of this is the heck and best testimony to that. When the whole aspect of wellness in St. Lucia, the ministry became the Ministry of Health and Wellness in 2007. When in 2006, we began what we call the Well Movement in Antigua. And that was what it meant? We love life. Okay? Well, we love life. That's right. So they say wellness and wellness and wellness and wellness. People don't even know the acronym of the well is we love life. You understand that? And then the brother now begged. I called my father because I was tired, man. Too many people was just trying to blame me for everything. Remember, I'm trying to help people, man. And they're trying to blame you for everything that happened. And nobody that you heal, a few of them would come and say a little something, but people that, nobody will come and stand up and say, people will come, yes, but everything they blaming. So I called my father, I say, Daddy, you know this man that calling me, you want me to help him because I say you're going to die on Sunday and you have kidney failure. I don't want to take care of them people. Anything happen to this man, you're going to blame me now. He said, but don't let these people that stop you from doing your work, man. You should do your work. And my empress told me the same thing. And I took him on. I said, okay, all right. Now, by the time that he leaves past Sunday, he's supposed to be thankful. No?
Yes.
Of course, man. Of course. Now, he's alive today. But his wife was upset. Say we charge them too much money. I'm not very serious. And the money that we charged them was probably less than